I taught the Zen story about Hakuin and how he's accused of this, incredible violation of trust within his community, impregnating the daughter of the local food merchant, and he's presented with a baby after the daughter names him, fingers him for the deed, and he says, is that so? And he accepts the baby and cares for it for a year, and then eventually the daughter, the mother of the infant, names the actual father, a young man who worked in the fish wharf, and they come back for the baby, and after caring for it tenderly for a year, they come back and say, okay, it's ours and we want it now. And he hands the baby back and says, is that so? I've been pondering the Zen dude thing, where you're just so cool that you can take these kinds of blows and just roll with it. And I talk a lot about the 8 worldly winds. I think everybody in Louisville can rattle them off when I ask, because I ask a lot, but they are gain and loss, status and disrepute, praise, blame, pleasure, pain. And there in pairs, all of the negatives in those pairs, they just hurt. We are just so made. It's our karma as human beings, as sentient beings, that those things just hurt. And the positives can be pretty ouchy too, because they can set us up for fearful reactionary patterns. If I win the lottery, boy, I'm going to lose some sleep about what I'm going to do about the money and all the people in my life who need it. If my status is suddenly elevated, I know that in a way that's going to draw a bullseye on my back. If I'm praised, depending on how it's handled, that may cause envy and insecurity in my fellow Sangha members, or I deal with this a lot in the arts community. And pleasure and pain, if I hurt a lot, well, pain is that gift that just keeps on giving. Hello, embodiment. And it's a whole thing to show up for situations and do my best when I'm in pain. So with that as an opening framing, I really wanted to look at Blue Cliff Record, the Hermit Staff, case 25, but I don't want to talk about the koan very much. I wanted to lift some yummy words from the introduction and from the verse, and see where we might go with that. So it begins with some words I took real personally as a new Zen teacher. If potential does not leave a static position, it falls into a sea of poison. If words do not startle the crowd, they fall into current convention. It's like, whoa, okay, so there are my marching orders for stepping up to the microphone to give a Zen talk, right? If I can't cause you somehow to leave a static position, your potential falls into a sea of poison. Here, I would describe that sea of poison as sort of a quietism, maybe, let's Zen out, let's bliss out. Let's think that the answer to suffering is just to be feeling better on our cushion and to do that as much as we can. And then the Bodhisattva vows, what are they? Those are kind of problematic. So we'll just, I don't know, push them away. So I want your potential to leave a static position. I want my own potential to leave a static position. The next bit, if words do not startle the crowd, they fall into current convention. If I don't offer you some turning words, some stuff to chew on, some stuff that really was like, we just roll along in the status quo. And that's not practice and training at its best. And I come to think that's not even living at its best. Status quo thinking means falling ever deeper into a familiar, comfortable kind of delusion that can very easily replace showing up and taking a fresh look at the situation, which is, I think, the core of what we hope to do. And to circle back to the Zen dude, the person who can take those hits of the 8 worldly winds and just be like, okay. It's a little bit unfortunate that when a Zen student or teacher has a very powerful practice, they can come to seem like that Zen dude. And from the point of view of somebody who maybe does not have access to that kind of practice yet, it may seem like they are suppressing the pain. It may seem like they have really powerful skills for compartmentalizing the pain. Somehow they have mastered how to look cool and how to look good when you're under incredible stress. And wow, so I must be sitting in order to present as unflappable and cool, and who doesn't want to be the Zen dude? And then you start training and you start hearing about doubt, and I'm going to add to it anger. So here's my words that I'm hoping will startle the crowd, but I already know from teaching that doesn't happen. I can work really hard on what I hope to say, and then it'll be my throwaway comment at the end of the talk that everybody's like, "Oh, that was really awesome." So whatever. But here's my attempt at startling words. It goes, doubt and anger are the road food of bodhisattvas. Okay, Rochiel laughed. Doubt and anger are the road food of bodhisattvas. Yeah, this is the stuff we eat to keep going in finding the way. Okay, so I threw this out to Sangha on Saturday, and they tilted their head and they batted it back and forth, and what they ended up concluding is you need both at the same time. If you have just doubt, you can spin down into sort of a paralysis, and it's not really very meaningful anyway, because you're not trying to get anywhere. You're just kind of sitting there doubting. And in the words of the introduction to the Blue Cliff record, you're just kind of gonna fall deeper into current convention. It's just current convention plus doubt. Anger anger is the good stuff. We've been studying the demigod realm, where threat, where doubt, where anger can spin us off into kind of toxic, competitive, or harmful patterns of reactivity, and how not to do that. And it's all about this mysterious process of alchemy that we train to be capable of, so that when that worldly wind hits us, we make a whole bunch of moves really quickly. I mean, so quickly. So if you get to see a really strong teacher, maybe not me, but like Rochiel or somebody, get mad, and then watch how quickly that processes through their body. Boom. Like if you miss it, you will really have missed it. Why? Because they are practicing. Okay. And that practice is so internalized, it's now their default. And so here I am teaching breaking down this mysterious alchemy that takes us from, toxic, reactive, hurting, suffering places to being able to be Zen dude when we get hit with something really hard. And what is it? It comes back, and one piece of it is this doubt and anger. So I'm going to make the case for doubt and anger, and return to case 25, the Blue Cliff record, and then we can discuss. Oh, I'm going to throw in a Huato while I'm at it. Okay, with doubt, if we don't doubt, we will not practice verify. Okay, there's nothing that will motivate us to verify the situation we are in. That's using some Dogeny language. To practice verify is to simply show up and pay attention in the moment. So you're not bringing a script to the situation. You're actually looking at the screen and seeing people's faces. And I was like, is this talk making any sense to anybody? Well, I'm looking, I'm actively showing up, and I'm going to let what I see guide my next words. Okay, that is practice verification. It's going to guide my action. If we don't course correct, if we don't show up to course correct, if we cannot endure doubt, if we cannot come to welcome doubt, we will not be there to make these constant adjustments. And for me, this constant adjusting, that is finding the way. That is wayfinding. That's what we're doing. I guess it almost goes without saying, but I'm going to say it, that if we fail to course correct, don't show up to practice, verify the moment that we are in, if we rely on delusion to navigate the moment, uh, we do kind of what's called compounded delusion. I don't know who said that first. If anybody knows, send me an email. Compounded delusion, where we're not just ordinarily deluded, and all we are is deluded. Let me make it clear. It's delusions all the way down. That's all we've ever got, right? But we can double down on our delusions and really think that they are right. This delusion is the hill I'm going to die on. And then there you are off to the demigod realm, and you're not being really sensitive to where you happen to be. So doubt is what saves us from compounding our delusions. It's what motivates us to take a fresh look. Then the second part of the Bodhisattva road food was anger. If we're truly fine where we are, good, stay there. You're in the heavenly realm, chill and enjoy it as long as it lasts. But really, if we're truly fine where we are, why find the way? Why even seek? And in working with anger, we usually have to do a little bit to sort of rehabilitate our own understanding, so we don't think of it as those nasty toxic reaction patterns that lead to hurt and harm. They can be pointed at ourselves, they can be pointed at others, or we can take the whole ship down with us. That's not the anger I'm talking about. I'm talking about anger as the raw energy. We showing up for a situation with doubt, we investigate it. Investigating it, we see suffering, and we feel moved by it, and we move into that situation. What can I do? And we're looking. It it's so simple, yet I think it's pretty common to have had a karma that teaches us that doubt and anger are just the worst things ever. And so here I am telling you they're the road food of bodhisattvas, and you need them together. That's what my Sangha sorted out for me. You have to have both. So now we're going to have like a doubt cupcake with anger frosting on top. Okay. And that's your road food as a bodhisattva. In every bite, you want some of both. Okay. You need that, the energy to motivate your action. You need that doubt so that you will check which way you're steering and make the course corrections. How on earth do we pivot from experiencing doubt and shame as terribly triggering, terrible states, what we want to get as far away from as we can in order to feel competent and capable and in charge in our lives? How do we make that pivot? Well, we show up to train over and over again, and our Dharma teachings present this to us in some kind of way. If I'm not saying it right, it's okay. There are a lot of Zen teachers, somebody else will say it better. I bet when we get to the discussion session, we'll hear more ways of saying this better. But partially we step up internally to say, okay, wait, maybe I have been throwing away something that was very valuable. And when I got to this point in thinking about what I wanted to say this week, I'm like, awesome. My karma now as a Zen teacher is to go through people's trash and to pick the doubt and the anger up out of the trash and say, hey, you threw this away. You need it. This is your road food. And I do think this is kind of what we end up needing to do for each other. Now, I think it's really important as students to step up and be willing to look at how we frame doubt and anger, if we are committed to a view where those things are bad and wrong and signs of failure, I don't know how we're ever going to get to be Zen dudes where we can actually uh, take bodhisattva action. Okay, we need that doubt, we need that anger. Step up, just consider. And this is where mm, it gets layered, it gets complicated, it gets deep. I've been through this territory many times with my partner, also a Zen student and a military veteran, and the deep ways in which he was trained out of and away from doubt, and to see anger as deeply threatening. And we all have our own karma around this, that what might make us a little bit unready to believe that our doubt and our anger is really what we need most. But here I am making the case. So what did I want to say? Oh, okay. In the verse, there's an image, and then in Tenkei's commentary, I'll just read that. You don't need to know what the koan is. Here's the verse: dust and sand in his eyes, dirt in his ears. He won't stay in the myriad peaks. Okay, so you have to kind of know how Zen works, where when it seems like they're actually belittling someone or portraying them as pathetic, somehow they're actually saying, oh, strong practice, very strong practice, dust and sand in his eyes, dirt in his ears. Awesome. And as I tell my student Carol uh, all the time, pretty much, the action of a bodhisattva is when their nose itches, they reach up and scratch it. It's daily life. It's just the most normal, natural, nothing added action to relieve suffering. Dust and sand in his eyes, dirt in his ears, and just that's what does a practitioner do? Okay. And then Tenkei doubles down on it. Watery eyes, runny nose, ultimately not even washing his feet, like an imbecile, like an idiot. Though completely without ability, an unburdened wayfarer is in a state where there are no Buddhas to resort to above and no self below. All right. So I hope I hope I have offered you some road food and as an imbecile, as an idiot with unwashed feet, and yes, on the watery eyes and runny nose. Our pollen here in Louisville is awesome right now. All right. Yeah, that was more than enough for me. So what do you think? Is anybody sold? Do you want a doubt and anger cupcake? Do you have one already?